Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for part two of the Kirk conspiracy. If you missed part one, you can go back and watch it. It is has the same cover photo. It's under Think About It Thursdays, November 6th, 2025. So let's get it started. Let's pick up where we left off.
We're about to find out if Erica Kirk is a honeypot or the Christian conservative wife that we have seen her being all these years. People have been claiming she may be a honeypot since they started dating. And if you don't know what a honeypot is, it's beautiful, usually very intelligent women who are intentionally put next to a man in rising power or is already in a place of power as a way to control them, motivate them, keep them on the course, basically. People who put these two people together want her to keep him going on that track. The more you find out about Erica Kirk, it's interesting to see the honeypot theory. 5 years older than him, she was a double major, had a doctorate, law degree. Whenever she met him, she already had very successful careers. She was a beauty pageant queen. People know this. She's Miss Arizona. She ran for Miss USA, but she was also an athlete and had a very successful basketball career and was a member of the NCAA. She also started clothing lines. The list just keeps going. She's also modeled, acted, and a casting director. And Erica herself has even founded nonprofit organizations. I think that's why a lot of people who know all this about her are comparing her to Serena Joy, but people who don't know this about her are comparing her to that crazy conservative Christian from True Blood. And I feel like the more you know about Erica, it's going to be interesting to see what Erica Kirk achieves in the next months, years, how Charlie was so much more successful once he aligned himself with her, whether she was a honeypot or not. We're about to.
And this is what I was talking about a lot yesterday, that what did she really gain from aligning herself with Charlie Kirk? But watching her public appearances since Kirk's death, she's very peculiar. And her interactions with men is very peculiar. Like, she's quite accomplished on her own, but she's coming off very male-centered, and I don't buy it. I there's just something about it. I do not buy that this woman is male-centered. Do I necessarily think that she's a honeypot? No. The more I'm learning about her, the more that I'm watching her. And no, I'm not talking about the criminality of this when I make this comparison. It's more giving like Ghislaine Maxwell vibes, where just like Ghislaine Maxwell, she comes with the money, she comes with the connection, she comes with all of these things. And it's like you're using the men as the front men. But why? But why? Like I said, let's keep on moving through.
Gentlemen, it has now come to my attention that a lot of the things that we suspected about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there's some things that are starting to come to fruition, come to light. We're going to bring them up here to the forefront. So the latest and greatest, check this out.
In case you can't see that, it says, tonight's story isn't rumor, it's testimony from the inside. According to a whistleblower from within TPUSA, Erica Kirk had already begun assuming CEO duties before her husband's death, making executive calls, issuing orders, and sidelining the man who built the brand. Still not grounds to kill him. She was better at business. And I don't know. Let's continue.
Yeah, that was his wife taking over his brand before his death and making calls to the security to stand down. Why would she do that? Why would a loving wife of Charlie Kirk?
Now, that last part, that's circulating a lot. That allegedly Erica Kirk made calls to his security detail. And there's also scuttlebutt floating around that his security had recently changed to tell them to stand down. Who's confirming this? Because those that are in the know have been fairly tight-lipped about certain details surrounding this. And let's not forget, they slapped the people at UVU that day with gag orders. They're not allowed to share the footage, talk about it, anything. And I've yet to see where it's been confirmed that any of these people have truly been questioned or if their footage has been reviewed. I don't know if it's been confiscated, not sure. But at this point in the game, so I'm curious as to where the confirmation for this is coming from. I'm not saying that it couldn't be, but that's weird. And once again, if she's just taking over the duties, she's his senior. She has more experience in these things. It kind of makes sense. And who's to say they weren't in agreement with her taking over the day-to-day operations? Because he seems to be always on the road or on his podcast. I don't know. But let's not forget, there's still the claims that, she had nefarious intent over in Romania.
Erica Kirk's Romanian charity initiative, Romanian Angels, was tied to child trafficking, that a U.S. Army colonel ran a brothel on a Romanian base, and that the U.S. military took over the investigation. We pulled the documents and reporting. Here's what's true and what isn't. After Erica Kirk became more prominent publicly, old clips and posts resurfaced, a video where she thanks U.S. personnel in Romania and a Romanian article naming Colonel Otto A. Bush III and subordinate in alleged misconduct at the Mihail base. Then those posts then leapt to trafficking pipeline, ban from Romania, and a supposed U.S. takeover of the case. First, the Romanian articles. In January 2020, Romanian outlets and others published a complaint from Anna Maria Nucia, a translator at the base, alleging a brothel involving minors, naming Colonel Otto Busher and Lloyd Sparks. These are allegations reported by those outlets, not court filings. Second, a counter-investigation from Newsweek Romania argued the brothel narrative was built on speculation and got amplified by partisan sites. Again, this is media analysis, not a court verdict, but it directly challenges the claim. Third, case status. Reporting in October 2023 says Romania's organized crime prosecutors, DIICOT, the file about a clandestine brothel at the base was closed. No public ruling accuses Busher, Sparks, or U.S. forces, and nothing in the report implies or says the U.S. took over the investigation. Posts claim a U.S.-Romania treaty that let the U.S. military seize jurisdiction. There is a 2001 status of forces agreement that sets who has jurisdiction over U.S. personnel in Romania, standard for host nation deployments. But we found no official document showing a U.S. takeover of a Busher probe in this case. Now to Erica Kirk and her program, Everyday Heroes Like You, and its Romanian Angels initiative. Multiple fact checks and mainstream coverage says there's no evidence her ministry was accused by authorities of trafficking or that she was banned or kicked out of Romania. That claim is unsubstantiated as of today. Yes.
And once again, if you remember previously, I told you this is something that is making the rounds on Reddit, and it's not been able, I've tried to substantiate it. There are people who are claiming that they are from Romania or living in Romania currently, and that this is where, excuse me, these things came from, but thus far, no one is offering any type of proof. So could have been on the up and up. She did seemingly have a very privileged upbringing and background. So her having these connections and being able to do these things is not unfounded. We've seen a lot of high profile, excuse me, children start careers, create businesses, have companies in the past. So, kind of take that with as much as you can. But moving forward.
Do you feel safe?
What are they going to threaten me with? Going to heaven sooner to be with my husband?
Did she forget she got kids? Okay.
And I don't say that to be reckless. I do not. I do not say that because I'm out.
Okay, you're saying that you're not afraid, that you're not scared, but you need to. And yes, before somebody goes, well, Taz, I've seen you on multiple things and even on this podcast. Wipe your eyes multiple times. And I tell y'all, I have horrible allergies and my eyes do just run. But looking at footage of her before, she wasn't an eye dabber. She wasn't doing all of these things.
The streets, like, here I am, come find me. And it's not at all. It's.
What do you mean, here I am, come find me? Who's going to think of the children? I'm kind of seeing why the acting career did not really take off, but okay. And would you stop with the looking up to heaven?
It's a fearlessness that's rooted in the understanding that I will have my day and my time, whenever that is. When the Lord knows that I've completed my mission.
So why bring children into this world if your mission is ultimately to be a sacrifice for God? Because that's what I'm getting out of this. That's weird. Like, are you trying to align yourself with the martyrdom that's been afforded to your late husband? And I really, really hope, because there's a lot of speculation going on. Are these really her children? All of this other stuff. And I really, really, really hope this isn't like the I can't think of that child's name. I'm so sorry. There was one actress where it found out that she never gave birth. She never had a child. She was just utilizing her sister's child for sympathy. I really hope this isn't that situation.
And I'm not afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid either. We never lived in fear. If we did, we wouldn't get anything done.
Do you feel
I can understand and I can respect not wanting to live in fear because it can be crippling. But there's a difference between not living in fear and living stupidly. And by that, I mean, whether you have children or not, you don't want to live stupidly and you don't want to live recklessly. But the fact that this woman keeps seemingly trying to align herself with the martyrdom that has been afforded to her husband is weird. It's all of this isn't necessary for a company takeover. It's not. When you have companies and one spouse passes away, you kind of expect the other spouse to take over eventually in some type of capacity, even if she wanted to take over immediately. Why does this have to be so publicly and all this pomp and circumstance, especially when it's been recently reported that they're courting, basically auditioning Kirk replacements? Like, just let it go seamlessly. Like, why are you seemingly trying to goad a target onto you? It's just weird to me. Maybe it's not weird to anybody else. Just super, super weird to me.
I know we had a birth plan, and the only thing that went to plan on that birth plan was that we had a child.
That's right.
That's generally how most birth plans go. Pregnancy, birth, and children. You can have the best laid plans, and that didn't happen. But here's the funny part: y'all didn't talk, whether together or separately. Both mothers are alive. You didn't talk to them. You didn't consult them. Y'all just went in blind.
Everything else
We had a great
went out the window.
We had a great OB. May he rest in peace. Terrible story.
It's so sad.
And this gave me pause, because I know everybody, and even I'm doubting the whole everybody grieves differently. But when they're like, terrible OB, may he rest in peace. First of all, I couldn't tell you if any of my doctors passed away. I guess, I don't know, like, but look at her reaction. They're so casual about death. I don't know.
So what young married couples look?
Window.
We had a great OB. May he rest in peace. Terrible story.
It's so sad.
Why is it a terrible story? Why does she have a smirk on her face about it being so sad? Like, what happened to this OB? Like, was he mauled? What? Because according to the rhetoric that he spews and the lifestyle that they proclaim that they live, he couldn't have been an abortion doc and we're not in the 1980s where they're bombing them still. So what
young married couples look? Men, you should be completely in charge of finances.
I totally agree.
And your wife should have nothing.
No, she does not totally agree. You can tell by her body language. And this, once again, is something that people are pointing to as to insinuate that she had a hand in either his death or she currently has a hand in the cover-up. Now, this has to be one of the worst cover-ups ever if, this was an inside job, because once again, it would have gone unnoticed and there wouldn't be so much speculation if there wasn't so much pomp and circumstance, if there would not have been a Kirkapalooza, if she wouldn't be popping up everywhere every 2 to 3 business hours, it seems. But this body language right here is showing you she doesn't agree with this. And once again, she came in with the education. She's his senior. She came in with the money. Like, she was already established in handling her own finances. This is weird.
To do with it. They can have. Men, you should be completely in charge of finances.
I totally agree.
And your wife should have nothing to do with it.
I feel as if some women, after they have children, they lose that fire that they got at the altar, that fiery spirit of this is the man I've been praying for, and they get burned out. I am surrounded in a circle now by people who love us, support us, pray with us.
Small, mighty circle.
And that's what I would much rather have.
Women lose that fire that they have at the altar for their husbands after children come. Seems like somebody was not happy being domesticated, but she wasn't really domesticated. She really wasn't a stay-at-home mom. She still has her businesses. She still has a nonprofit. Now, go with me here. I don't really think that this is showing disdain. I think this is showing, yeah, she is very, very, very creepy, Black Goddess. I think this is showing they're not good actors, and the lifestyle that they're selling, like most of these people selling it, isn't the lifestyle that they were living. It wasn't. Because what I took away, yeah, she's very creepy, but what I took away from that body language is, this is bullshit. We know who really handles the finances, especially in the previous video where it talked about she was already making the transition into the CEO position, which answers some questions that I still had lingering from last night, where it's like, how did she get voted in so quickly? They were already familiar with her. They already knew her credentials and her work. That's how. That's why. So, and keep in mind, multiple things can be true all at the same time. Now, oops, once again, Candace Owens is asking all the questions that one would think other close friends, personal assistants, family members, and especially the widow of Kirk would be asking. Oh, I definitely feel like she's grifting. I absolutely do. And I realize that when you see bits and pieces of her in a video here, video there, it's easy to get swept up in the whole conspiracy thing. That's why I say I love discussing the conspiracy theories and how could this be plausible? Let's look at all these things. And after going through so much footage of her, I'm like, she's a little creepy. She's not a good actress, all these different things. But it's about the grift. And honestly, I think, and no, I'm not some type of criminal mastermind, this would have worked better in her favor if she would have taken a page out of Jackie Kennedy Onassis's book. And this is what I mean by that. Yes, give on a strong, brave face when she went to go collect the remains of her husband. The photo shoot at the casket, not necessary. The whole thing with receiving the Medal of Honor, not necessary. She should have sent his parents or her mother to receive that medal. She should have laid low and stayed in the background, even if the transition of her into CEO was automatic. She should have worked from the background and not had all of these appearances. And then at some time next year, like at the anniversary of his passing, pop out with a nice little memorial tribute from Turning Point USA, and then announce that she's the CEO publicly. And then she can ride off and do what she wants to do. Because once again, it's already being reported that they're auditioning other people to fill the debate shoes of Charlie Kirk. All of this is raising suspicion, creating doubt. Like the base that she needs money from, the base that she had snatching up people's jobs and getting them kicked out of school, is they're the ones predominantly now going, something doesn't smell right. Something does not smell right. Now, whether they liked each other or not, because we got to be honest, there are a lot of marriages that are transactional. Like both parties agree this is transactional. This works for us. We are that power couple. We can make money together. We can do X, Y, and Z. And I can understand that being the reason why she got with Charlie Kirk. Like, hey, I want to break into this. I've got these great ideas, but I'm a woman. They're not going to let me into this space with these ideas. He can be the front person because once again, she's older. She comes with the education. She comes with the money. She comes with the connections. And it's like, yeah, people keep talking about the fact that Charlie Kirk's father helped build Trump Tower in Chicago, but his father really did. They weren't chummy. Like people act as if when you do a job for somebody, y'all are all of a sudden, boom, coon close and, you besties and going to dinner. No, she was the one with direct access and the connection. So I can get that. But this right, yeah, the base is like, hold up, sister girl. And it's causing people like, they're like, hold up. Where's this investigation going? This isn't adding up. That's not adding up. We're not hearing from anybody on the ground. We're seeing you in full glam way too much. Yeah, she did lack that foresight. She's thinking, the United States loves a widow and they love a hero. Even if she didn't want to look to Jackie Kennedy Onassis, she should have looked to Melania Trump. And I know that's going to sound weird because I don't like the Trumps, okay? But hear me out. With the assassination attempts on Trump, especially when he got shot in the ear, we know he didn't. But just go with me for this. Melania wasn't out and no. We heard about her reaction from Trump. We just know Trump disappeared for a while. There are reports that Melania was with him and then not. The fact that, and on the heels of on the heels of so many other people passing away this year, most notably Ozzy Osbourne. Miss Mamas, you should have laid low. There are so many people who mourned along with the Osbourne family. And they're pouring up support. People sending funds, although they have funds. It's, hey, you shouldn't have done this. Like, I know that Turning Point USA is officially labeled a collegiate organization. Then I've said before how I think that it should have been run from the beginning, but that's neither here nor there. That's their business model. That's their business model. It's a collegiate organization, and they're acting like a bunch of college freshmen. And I mean, first 3 months of school college freshmen. When you first get on that college campus, but you still have that high school mentality. Like, oh yeah, this will look good. That'll look good. It's not. It's not at all. It gets creepier and creepier and weirder as we go on. Like I said, I'm really conflicted in saying this, but Candace Owens is asking some damn good questions here, and she's being more FBI than the FBI.
Phone to his ear, and he begins a conversation. So we're going to watch that clip in its entirety. Mark is going to bring it in. So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds. The next time that you're going to see Mikey McCoy, as we just showed you, is in just under 2.5 seconds on the other side of the tent. He's on a phone call. So we can track Mikey, but let's watch the clip again in milliseconds so you really grasp how quickly this transpires. So when this clip was brought, there we go, we're tracking that. Yeah, when the clip was brought to my attention, I obviously have a file. I have a big folder of files of every angle, and I decided to track Mikey from every angle available to see, like, maybe we just missed it. And he did at some point put that phone down, dial a number, speed dial, hold down one. I don't know. Maybe we missed it because that seems automatic, right? 0.834. That seems pretty quick. And no, he doesn't do that. We even have him in front of Charlie's car. When Charlie is brought to the car, the waiting car rather, he is still on the phone. And I can show you the clip of that. Take a look at this. Don't worry, we'll slow it down for you. See him in the background with the backpack. It's Mikey McCoy. Okay.
We didn't know if he was alive or not, but clearly there's no ambulance. There are no first responders. Okay. And also to the people on that day when I was on the Taz Effect reporting on it, and I kept telling supporters of Charlie Kirk, slow down, wait for the official report, whether he had passed or not, I am not a supporter of Charlie Kirk, and I was very shocked that so many of his supporters were already deciding he was deceased before we had confirmation. And once again, I'm not a supporter, but he does have parents. He does have siblings. He does, have family and friends. And I'm like, let's not write him off till we know. But the simple fact of the matter is, and this is also contributing to the quick spread of these conspiracies and people believing that Erica Kirk had something to do with it, is that she's contradicting the forward face fronting people of Turning Point USA with the things that she's saying. And as we go through all these facets, I have clips of that as well. But once again, she thanked Erica Kirk, first responders. Please show me where there's a first responder.
So what are we to make of that? The only logical conclusion that I can come up with, and many others, because I've pressed, I said, play devil's advocate. I want you to advocate for Mikey McCoy. I want you to play lawyer, and you are representing your client, Mikey McCoy. What was he do? How did he do it this quickly? No one could win this game. The only logical conclusion that we come up with was that Mikey was already on a phone call at 12:23 p.m. By 12:23 p.m., he was already on a phone call. He puts his phone to his ear and he begins a conversation. So we're going to watch that clip in its entirety. Mark is going to bring it in.
And that's the thing. Now, it's not unusual, whether a part of a security team, a part of support team, to be on your phone during an event. I've been one of those support people. I've been an assistant. I've helped put together events, and I've had to be on the phone with secondary speakers that are coming. I've had to be on the phone with catering. I've had to be on the phone with security that's outside of the perimeter that we're on. It's not unusual. What's unusual is to lie about being on the phone. And also, there are multiple stories floating about regarding Mikey and him being on the phone. One, so notably, I did touch on it a little bit last night, was that Mikey's father, who is a pastor, take that how you will, said on camera that, he's so proud of his son, that, he's so young, but that right after Charlie Kirk was shot, that Mikey called his father and that he was calm, that he was covered in blood. He did not say it was a FaceTime call. And as you can see, the phone went up this way, not this way, okay? That he was covered in blood. The whole covered in blood thing has been debunked. He was not. He wasn't even on the correct side to get any blood spatter on him from what I saw. If I'm seeing it incorrectly, please correct me. So there's that. Erica Kirk has recently come out and said that Mikey was on the phone with her, that Mikey called her right after he was shot. But Turning Point USA stated in a podcast that that didn't happen, that Mikey was never on the phone. Now, there are also additional discrepancies because for a while after Kirk passed away, the story was that his wife and children were on site. There was another story that said not only were they on site, but that his daughter ran up to him. I don't know who started these things, but it took off like wildfire. And Erica Kirk seemingly contradicts herself as well regarding this, because in a recent interview that we'll get to later, she claims that on that day, her phone had died and she had never recharged it. I'm not saying she did it, but it's looking like. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but chisel pits people. Sabrina, there are people that are saying that maybe he didn't die. I touched on it a little bit last night, because they're noting that a private jet took off that day around the time after they would have evacuated the scene. But like I said last night, we have to take into account even if Charlie Kirk flew in on a private jet, he's not the only owner of a private jet or the only person who could rent out a private jet. And we got to keep that in mind, because like right now, Vivek Ramaswamy, who threw his hat into the Ohio gubernatorial race, is taking a private jet all over Ohio. Like from Akron to Toledo to Ohio. Yeah, so it's it's more and more and more Shigete. You know what? That is my thing. Was he so important for someone to do this? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. And here's the thing. Do I believe that it's possible he could have been offed? Absolutely. We see people, especially people, off each other for less. Okay. I've covered stories where people have offed their whole family over a video game. I don't put anything past them. Okay. People have killed one another over wedding themes. What's causing some people to go, this is far-fetched, nobody had him murdered, is because of the narrative that was put forth that Erica Kirk is now jumping on and grifting off of, and that it's politically motivated. Because remember, they're trying to position him as a political activist, which he wasn't. He really didn't dabble into politics. He didn't. Okay. He wasn't a lobbyist. He wasn't anything like that. There are bits and pieces of this that are making me very reminiscent of the Alex Murdaugh trial. It really is, where death occurred, a murder occurred to cover up other things, where it's like, you killed your wife and one son because you had an addiction and you were stealing money and you were about to be fired from work. Like, people were still going to find out that you got fired from work. Like, you thought that they were going to have more sympathy for you because you were mourning the death of two family members? She is a cut the brake line type of gal, but I don't think, like I said, I'm not sure if she had a hand in it or if she's just helping with the cover up because it benefits her. There are now reports coming out that between 6 to 8 days before his death, he was ordering a full audit on Turning Point USA, especially the finances, because there was money that they were bleeding money too quickly and nobody knew, like, who are we paying? Why are we paying them so much? Why all of a sudden is putting on this event costing so much? Especially since he's taking the cheapest route for the biggest amount of profit. He's going to college campuses and he's not renting out the arenas at these college campuses. He's not even renting out, a room in the student union. He's generally outside. If he's inside, it's a Jubilee event where Jubilee is paying him. So that's what I said before. I'm leaning towards more on she's okay with helping with the cover up as opposed to her being a part of the planning. Because whatever happened to her biological father, she could have just asked her mama for help on that one and it would have been easy peasy breezy. And that's another thing that's bothering me. Why ain't her mama telling her to shut up and sit down and be at home? Because nobody really knows how her mother ends relationships. You just don't never see an ex again. Oops. Not what I meant to click. Hold on. There we go.
No ballistics report There was no crime scene investigation. There were no paramedics. There were no police swarming it right after. There was a plane that left 30 minutes right after, that was 20 minutes away from the venue. There was a funeral held 11 days after in a stadium that was or wasn't booked 4 months before, that was booked in 11 days and put together with pyrotechnics and WWE style showmanship. You have a shooter that left the screwdriver on the roof, changed 3 times or 2 times, and left the rifle, assembled the rifle, disassembled the rifle in 6 seconds. Then they found the rifle on Palantir property. Somehow he reassembled the rifle without the screwdriver that he left on the thing. You know, I mean, just all of it. None of it makes sense.
So and this is the JFK same, all over again.
It's the
Juan, can we stop comparing everything to JFK? Because yeah, we can get into that on another day. But just an update on the family of the alleged shooter. They're in witness protection. And no, they're not in witness protection because people are threatening them. No, they're not in witness protection, according to reports, because they plan on, snitching on their relative. No, they're saying that the reports about them are not true and they're in witness protection to keep them from doing interviews. Because you would think such a high profile case, they would be a hot commodity all over every right wing, everything, podcast, news, outlet on television, websites, newspapers, magazines, everything. Now, I've had some questions since I saw the footage. Don't know if you saw the footage, but even if you didn't, go with me and maybe you'll understand why I have these questions. Why didn't anybody run towards him and apply pressure to the wound? Why did they sit there and let him seemingly bleed out? Why did we get reports claiming that he was in emergency surgery, but there was no autopsy? Why are they acting as if this wasn't a through and through bullet, but telling us the caliber of long rifle that it was and acting like he was the man of steel and the bullet just stayed in there? Why didn't they extract the bullet so that they could have a concrete slam dunk case to convict the person? There were contradicting stories regarding where the alleged shooter's vehicle was, where it was found, what he had on, what he didn't have on, who turned him in, why they turned him in, which all seems very, very weird. No, I understand running. Yes, we would run the other way. I'm talking more like the security detail that he had there with him. And going through footage, and like I said, we'll go through all the footage that I found. It'll take a couple nights because it's a lot. When I go down a rabbit hole, I go down a rabbit hole. Yeah. But there were plain clothes professional security, and I know a professional security guard by how they grab people, how they speak, because I have a good friend who owns a private security company that were there on the ground. It's like you all were okay picking up your friend who's bleeding out. Nobody secured the perimeter, no one, and you were okay with running, jarring his body, causing more blood to come out to get to an SUV. And they keep saying it was his. So how did they get there? Like, how did they ultimately get in Utah? Just so many questions. And given that he was carried, who came back to carry him? And is that when the blood got on him? So is that afterwards when Mikey's father called him? And I would think that if you're such close friends and you're the personal assistant of someone, and you're so close that you have the wife's number, that you would at least stabilize them before calling the wife, especially when the wife is reporting to herself now that she was in the hospital with her mother. Who the hell ever has these kids? Like, their lifestyle, what they paint, is supposed to be like, yeah, she's the stay-at-home mom, and who has these kids? Who's been having these kids? It's very much so giving Ballerina Farms, where they present themselves on TikTok, at least on TikTok, that, you know, the wife does it all, and people had a bleeding heart for her last year, think she was being abused and run down, and oh, she looks so tired. And then somebody, I don't know if it was an oopsie doodle on purpose or if it was an accident, I was like, yeah, I was hired to come in and cook for Ballerina Farms and all of their staff. So it's I'm just saying, if somebody poke a hole in me, could you apply some pressure to it? Give a girl a fighting chance. I mean, I don't think I would say anything where somebody well, you know, I do say some things. Well, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Okay, Sabrina, here's the thing. I know a lot of people didn't want to go down this rabbit hole. I didn't think I was going to go down this rabbit hole, but fortunately for you, I've collected it all. And I've compiled it all here. Like I said, they're in my notes. I've broken it up into 3 different pages. So Sabrina, you've taken my classes. You know how this is, you know how this is about to go. Oh yeah, these kids, I'm very curious, but I have also met people who do the whole rent-a-kid thing. And no, I'm not talking about the rent-a-kid thing from the 1980s if you in 1990s if you lived in the Midwest. Because the sizes are changing. And I'm not talking about like children like growing. It's like one moment the daughter is so tall, then she's smaller, and then she's taller. Like, yes, kids, just like any human, can have a bloated day, gain a little weight, lose a little weight. Some kids are chunky, and as they get older, they slim down. And yes, I can understand protecting their identities, but you don't have to take a picture of them at all. Like, especially given what their father does, you don't have to say, like, what is the reason? And I'm very weirded out that as much as she would share of her family online, there are no bigger family pictures. Like, to sell the image that they're this traditional Christian family. You don't have no family Christmas pictures? I'm not saying my family and I see eye to eye all the time, every time, but when we get together, there's even if it's a whole bunch of us. So getting this all into one pic, first of all, who's gonna take the picture? But you know, you had the little squadrons or whatever, you know, all the grandkids get together, all the kids get together. Okay, everybody with grandma and like, no problem, Sabrina. It's weird. It's very weird. And for her to now be portraying herself as always devout Christian, always have been traditional. Like, sister girl, you didn't even go through and comb through your social media to take out some of the pictures. Like, you were a video vixen for a while. You were an actress on dating shows. You still got some risque photos up there. You got a hot nights out on the town pictures still on your Instagram. And this is why I said last night, like, do we know how old she really is? Like, some people took it as I was trying to insinuate that she's older than what she is. No. And before you go, nobody lies about being older. The fuck they don't. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And it's not just something that teenagers do or whatever. Yes, they do. And they're prime example. Instagram and TikTok. And people do it in the hopes that folks go, oh, I wouldn't have guessed that you're that age. You look so good for your age. I would have guessed you were blah, blah, blah. Because there are a couple heifers on TikTok right now talking about 72 never looked so good. Girl, reverse image search exists. You are 51 as of 3 weeks ago. What you talking about 72? Because your feelings gonna get hurt when somebody agreed that you're 72. Oh yeah, Bondi, definitely. So, there's a lot of and it's okay if you are a devout Christian now. And I've told this story before, because I learned about it a few months ago. There's a woman that I go to church with. That I've gone to church with her for decades. I've known her since I was like 23, 24. Amazing, amazing woman. Love her to pieces. Okay. I thought that this woman had been in church like myself, like all her life, or at least like preteen age. Nope. Got into church in her 30s. And the reason why I said I thought that she had been in church from a small child, because she's one of those people that's not an in-your-face Christian. She's not a hypocritical Christian. She's one of those people like from the old school churches. They have like the small churches where they actually do the church stuff. Like somebody need a bill paid, they're gonna pay it. Somebody don't have a place to stay, they're like, okay, sister such and such, can you take them? Brother such and such, can you take them? Okay, we'll just open up the church and we'll get some blow up beds and put them in here. That type of, y'all get what I'm saying? I had no idea. None. And thinking back, I was like, you know what? She actually has talked to people like, oh, I can relate to this. Yes, I used to do this. I came from here, blah, 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 blah. But to still have the evidence up and pretend like your past wasn't your past is diabolical. And also, if he was going to die from gun violence due to Erica Kirk, the girl is cold. She's surgical with the gun. She got long rifles. She could have pulled a Dick Cheney. The way she be batting eyes at everybody, she could have pulled a Dick Cheney and got away with it. Now, I'm going to throw this in on y'all because I thought about this between last night and tonight. What if it was supposed to be a stunt like Trump's? Because remember, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, all of them, they're all in the same sphere. You got to have something that's going to separate you. Okay. Charlie Kirk is in his 30s. He needed a transition off of the college campuses. And he also needed a way to, how can I say this, Young Republican Turning Point USA, to expand it, because Young Republicans go from 18 to 40. He needed a way to get off the college campuses, but still keep the recruitment going. So what better way than to be their hero? What if it was a stunt gone bad? That would be a lot more plausible. That would make more sense as to why Mikey was already on the phone with Erica Kirk and why nobody was shocked and looked, because they're like, okay, he's going to lay there for a minute. They do their 15 count or 10 count, turn around, get him, and then he has his Trump moment. And then they're like, oh, we're over for the day. We're over for the day. And they pack up and they leave. And that didn't happen. And that would also explain why the SD card was removed from the camera and they won't show his good friend Candace or anybody else the footage. And I think they promised the governor of Utah exactly what he got. His 15 minutes of fame in the spotlight to play hero and say a little racist shit. And they probably promised him re-election. Like I said, between last night and tonight. That was my thought process. But darling, just like last night, we're not finished. Yes, child. Yes, child. We got a series. We got the series. So I will see you all back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. And do not forget, the Vance Bostic second part of the interview will be Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on GCPR Radio's page here on YouTube for the Villain's View. And if you're not familiar, you can go back to last week's Think About It Thursday for part 1 of the interview. But this Sunday, we're getting into the nitty gritty. Part 1 of the interview was just to lay the groundwork, give you a preliminary understanding of who he is, a nice little introduction. And now, and just so y'all know, did y'all know that I was just his second interview? So yeah. Wasn't trying to hook up with my... Hey, I thought about that also. And then I saw her bear hugging Jason Aldean. And that man has been known to cheat and monkey bar wives. So you know. But we got so much more to get into. And I would say I would stick a pin in me going down this rabbit hole, but I would be lying to you. I would be lying to you. Mm-hmm. I'm more down this rabbit hole than I was with the Arthur Knight rabbit hole. Yeah. So as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Be good. Go get a snack. Or go get into some trouble. I don't know. But y'all be good.